IndyCar, and there's been a couple of interesting stories coming out of IndyCar. And for those that know, but Darth Vader, or sorry, should I say Roger Penske, has has had a lot to say vocally the last week regarding IndyCar. And first of all, King, he basically said that international races are pretty much off the table.
Yeah, I'll read out his quote where Roger Penske said, "I would like to have 15 or 16 good races. I don't want to have 18, 19, or 20. I'm not interested in going overseas. I think if we run our series here, we'll be a lot better off. Our sponsors, 95% of them, are U.S. domestic countries. If we're going to give them the benefit, the notoriety, and the business-to-business relations, we have to maintain these sponsors as we do, as hard as it would be to do in Abu Dhabi and places like that."
Well, it's an interesting thing because I know IndyCar had a couple of issues regarding international races before. I mean, obviously they can't go where Formula One is going for obvious reasons. They can't. I mean, they tried to go to Dubai, but then they chickened out at the 11th hour because they thought ISIS could be over there, basically, even though Dubai is in a part of the world where that really isn't a thing. So it's not like they haven't dabbled with the idea of international races. Of course, wasn't Sao Paulo on the calendar until a couple of years ago?
Yeah, Sao Paulo
there was a chance
on the calendar.
Mexico, they were supposed to start the series in... no, it was Sao Paulo, wasn't it? My apologies.
Yeah, Sao Paulo, and I still remember that for the James Hinchcliffe Up and Under from a couple of years ago, which is still glorious in every way.
Oh, my goodness.
It's not that they have never done foreign races before, even though you could argue that, you could just go to, it's the Americas kind of thing by going to Brazil, basically, which is, already has a really strong motorsport community and, is in the ballpark in, more South America than North. But even so, I mean, we already have a race in Canada, with Toronto, of course, and whatnot.
Well, I mean, that's basically America. He quoted, I have no problem going to Canada and Mexico. There are a lot of people in the Northwest United States that like racing, and these tracks and date equity is so important that he wants to grow racing here in the United States first. And they're, he said, the Pacific Northwest, Seattle, Portland, we don't race there. No one races there. NASCAR doesn't race there. IMSA doesn't race there. No one does.
Right. So has Roger got a point in making? Because I think he makes a solid... I didn't realize what Roger Penske's quote was in full until you read it out there. It was that key part of the quote, so to speak. But
yeah,
if there's one thing I do notice as being a newer IndyCar fan, they are very hard on sponsorship. You will see the Penskes rock 7 or 8 different liveries over the course of a season, and they had the big announcement or press conference that who is it for? I think it was for Simon Pagenaud's car, I think.
Yes.
Who was the sponsor again, King?
Oh, I don't recall what the sponsor is, which is terrible for the sponsors.
The car was fluorescent yellow, and hang on, I'm gonna get on Twitter real quick here. Team.
Yeah, while you look that up, I'll just say it doesn't really help American sponsors when you're racing in markets where they don't sell. Penske, obviously, Verizon does not exist outside the continent, outside of North America.
If it was Vodafone, then maybe you'd have a point. But I think ultimately,
it was Menards sponsoring the number 22. They're going to be sponsoring them at IMSA and Road America this season. It's that bright fluorescent yellow.
Yeah, Menards, of course.
Car that Pagenaud is going to be rocking at those free races. So yeah, Menards is going to be sponsoring them there. And again, another pretty much purely North American sponsor.
Yeah, because it's more of an American thing where they're willing to, go supply and demand with this. If no one's willing to buy your sponsorship at a certain price, they're willing to lower it until they get a sponsor. It's not like F1 where they're willing to hold out and run a blank car.
Yeah, and nobody really wants that. And if anything, Pagenaud gets the raw deal with that a lot of the time because he's often got the blank Penske yellow and white 22 livery. It's the most generic thing in the world, poor guy. And again, finding individual sponsors for 4 cars can be really difficult sometimes. So, it's the nature of the beast. So, yeah, I could see why Roger's talked about this from an international standpoint. IndyCar is a very, very, very American series, and going to places like Dubai is not going to help them because an American sponsor kind of serves no purpose over there, so to speak. The other issue he pointed out was seemingly these body kits. Now,